Hi everybody, this is Brian Pittman for Caterpillar Incorporated, LC building downtown, the Learning Center, and we're in one of the labs right here, as you can see we've got a lot of tools out here. But today's subject, my boss always said, Brian, you need to be out there doing some webinars so people can just, not have to see you in person, but just call the webinar up and get some good information out of that. So after 40 years of Caterpillar, I feel like I've got a little bit of information I can pass on to you. And today's subject is going to be about safety. And what we'll do is we're going to talk a little bit about how safety affects us, talk about some statistics about safety-related accidents, and we're going to talk a little bit about the good old ratchet tools today. So anyway, in 2009, there was 3 million workplace accidents that happened. And a lot of people, they really hurt very badly. And some of those were caused by hand tools, if you can imagine that. Being gouged with screwdrivers, over cranking on one of these and it slips off. There's various things that happen. You carpal tunnel, you get cuts and bruises, broken bones, strains, hurting your back just from using standard everyday hand tools. When we think about the big tools, whether it be big pneumatics or cranes or things like that where people get hurt, but a lot of it happens right here, right on hand tools. So that's what we're going to talk about a little bit today. There's some benefits to using the correct tools. And basically, you choose the right tool, you can get, you don't damage the tool. You don't screw up whatever you're working on and have to redo it. Those are big things. Those are time-consuming things. You don't lose work time. Going to the doctor, and we all know that that's costly today also. So there's a lot of different things, not only for the company you work for, but also for yourself, saving money. So that's what we're going to talk about here. Choose the right tool, use it correctly, maintain it, and everything will work out real well. Now, let's talk a little bit about the ratchets. Ratchets work pretty well when they've been maintained. That's what a lot of people just take them, throw them in the toolbox or whatever, and don't maintain them. But really, what you should do is take the 2 screws right here, take those out, pull this out, and put a little bit of oil in there and clean all the dirt out of there, because that's what usually tears one of these tools up. It's generally dirt. And not having that lubed correctly. The other thing that tears these things up is, and you know as well as I do, you're working on a job and you're thinking to yourself, hey listen, I need a little more pressure. So you put that pipe on there, and well, if you did it with this, it'll break. If you do it with this strong enough, you can break it too. And when you do, it busts it all inside, and that's a costly situation to be. Plus, you're out of tool. So what I always say is, if you're going to have to put quite a bit of pressure on it, more than what you got here, maybe you need to go up to a 3/4. This is a 1/2 inch. So that's what I always tell people. If you've got one like this is what I would call, this is an 18-incher. It's almost like having a 1/2 inch ratchet and a breaker bar all at one time. Now, this would be your typical breaker bar, and these are very hard to break, and you can lean on them pretty good. A lot of times they will break there in that joint, but as far as ratchets goes, ratchets are not to torque, they're to tighten. There's a big difference. If you're torquing, use a torque wrench. And remember, be safe with these, because when you're using sockets, this is another good important point. These are thin wall sockets, as you can see here with these ratchets. The thing about it is, don't use them for impact purposes. We've talked about that on several occasions. The funny thing about it is, we always think that the impact sockets are the ones that are heavy duty and very solid and things like that, but impact sockets actually give a little bit with inertia, and they're actually a little bit safer to use. If you use one of these on an impact, these are tensile strength on these is pretty good, but they'll fly apart. You can get the guy next to you, maybe get yourself, but do not use these on impacts. So just to summarize, keep these things clean, don't apply too much torque, use the correct sockets, don't use impact sockets on here, use impacts on impacts, and use your chrome sockets on these, and that'll work out pretty well for you. And the other thing is standard sizes, 3/8. I mean, we do have some quarters, which are for very, small projects. We sell the 1/2, we sell the 1/4 and 3/8 naturally, and we sell 3/4 and some 1-inch. 3/4 and 1-inch, those are some big jobs, and you can put some heavy duty torque on them. But anyway, that's kind of what we're going to talk about today. There's a couple other things that I did want to cover, and there's like 1,500 designs for sockets and ratchets, whether they be standard length, deep, extra deep, hex sockets, torque sockets, double squares, deep flex sockets. It goes all over the gamut depending on what your application is going to be. So let's just recap one more time. Use a socket designed for your application. It makes perfect sense. Only impact sockets with impact tools. Be sure to match the size and depth to the application. Sometimes you will need deep sockets, other times just standard sockets will work for you. Always inspect for wear, damage, and dirt, and never modify the sockets. Now, that's the other thing I did want to touch on here at the end. You take a socket like this and you do some welding on it, you lose your tensile strength, is basically what you do. And I can understand there's certain applications, whether it be on one of these or even an open-end wrench, which we're not talking about open-end wrenches today, but that's what I see most of out there, is people customizing their tools. Now, as a general rule, I'd say, well, I understand that, and I do, but the safety factor goes through the roof. Because you think they're solid, you welded them, they feel good, they look like they're going to work correctly, but they'll break and somebody's going to get hurt. So if you've got an application that says that you need to customize a tool, then somebody needs to know about that. Maybe that's a tool that should be made, a factory product with good tensile strength, because once you heat them up, it's no good. So anyway, for today, this is a little bit about safety. How many people have been hurt? We just, 3 million people in 2009. That's a lot of people, and a lot of that happened from hand tools. So next time you're out there working in your garage, you're working on a job, you're a tech in a factory, or you're working, at a dealership, just remember, keep your tools clean, use the right one for the right job, and we won't see you at the emergency room. So anyway, that's what I have to say for today. I hope you get a little something from this. If you would like to write to me, you can catch me on email at Pittman, Pittman _Brian_D@cat.com, or you can even give me a call, 309-675-5507. I personally would like to hear anything that you've found out there about safety, whether it be personal equipment like safety glasses, any type of hearing protection, hard hats, vests, gloves, whatever. I'd like to hear about it, because the more I know about safety and what's happening out there and where your techs are working, the more I can pass on to the next guy that may not know that, okay? So anyway, I'm Brian Pittman. Thank you very much for your time. We'll have more webinars as more subjects come up, and we'll bring them out and we'll do some videos on those, so you can all know a little bit about what we think safety is and how you can keep yourself safe. And like we always say, come to work safe, go home safe, because you got a family at home that wants to see you there. And like, once again, we don't want to see you in the emergency room. So anyway, that's all I have for today. Questions, comments, be glad to hear from you, okay? Stay safe out there. We'll catch you next time.